Suppose a random variable is normally distributed with a mean of 400 and a standard deviation of 100. Draw a normal curve with the parameters labeled. So this is like what we were doing before when we were working with the empirical rule, and we drew on our normal curves. We're going to draw our horizontal line down here, and then our bell-shaped curve here. Roughly bell-shaped here. So I'm going to label this with X since we're working with a random variable. And then we have our mean in the middle, so I'm going to label that mu here. Get this to come down. And then 3 standard deviations above, and then 3 below. So mu plus sigma, mu plus 2 sigma, and then mu plus 3 sigma. So this is for a population. And then mu minus sigma, mu minus 2 sigma, and mu minus 3 sigma for 3 standard deviations below. So the mean is 400, so that goes right in the middle. And then our standard deviation is 100, so I can add 100 to that to find mu plus sigma, so 500, and then just keep adding 100 to each one. So 500 plus 100 is 600. 600 plus 100 is 700, and then go from the mean and subtract. So 400 minus 100 is 300. 300 minus 100 is 200. 200 minus 100 is 100. So now we have our normal curve there with the parameters labeled. So part B here asks us to show the region under the normal curve that represents the probability of observing a value of the random variable that is less than 600. So there you can see I have the curve. I just redrew that over here. So we're talking about less than 600 where the value is smaller than 600. So we're talking about the values to the left. So I'm going to shade from 600 over to the left. So this is a good practice you want to build here. When you're working with these, talking about trying to find the probability, you want to draw out your curve and then shade the region that you're working with so you have a good representation. It'll make things easier. It'll just be a rough sketch there, but you want to make sure that you're drawing that out. So part C, let's do some interpretations. So we have, suppose a random variable is normally distributed with a mean of 400 and standard deviation. That's what we had before. Now we want to look at the area under the normal curve below 600, so what we just shaded is 0.9772. Later we'll talk about how to actually come up with that. We want to provide 2 interpretations of this area. So there's 2 different interpretations, one that deals with proportion and one that deals with probability. So let's go through and talk about those. So we can say that the proportion of observations of the random variable, that will be below 600 is 0.9772. So there's our proportion one. Or we can say the probability that a value of this random variable will be below 600 is 0.9772. So we can talk about proportions or we can talk about probabilities.